a huge thank you to everyone in this room who is responsible for this incredible honor, especially Marion Reynolds and Russ Heike, because I know you had a lot to do with this. But the real reason I am standing here is because of the hundreds of amazing students I taught through 3.5 decades. My teaching career that I love with a passion is due to the hardworking, supportive, and compassionate students that gave me their all every day. You are all my children. I've always felt I was very lucky to be born to such loving parents and growing up in Downey and attending Downey schools. As you probably read in my bio, my dad bought our plot of land on Wellyburg and Florence from a guy underneath an umbrella selling them for $1,200. They were orange groves in those days. This was 1949, and every night and weekend after working at Alcoa, he would come and he built our house from the ground up himself. I started Warren in 1961, a terrified, shy teenager. Many of you know I was given drama by mistake, and it wasn't computer glitch because I didn't have computers then. But it was the best mistake of my life because I was put in drama. And I fortunately had Mr. Richard Miles, the best drama teacher on this planet that ever lived, who saw my shyness and slowly brought me out of my shell. By my senior year, he had cast me as Emily Webb in Our Town. This momentous event changed the course of my life forever. I had always wanted to be a teacher, but I couldn't comprehend how I could attend college with all of my insecurities. But the confidence Mr. Miles instilled in me that lasted throughout my life allowed me not only to go to college, but to become a drama teacher and return to Warren to teach. Later in my senior year, Miles gave me a lead in a play that went to competition at the Pasadena Playhouse. We won the Governor's Trophy, which led to Talent Scouts offering me a screen test for MGM. I did the screen test, I turned down their offer. I wanted to come back and teach at Warren. Mr. Miles also allowed me to direct a full-length play while I was still a senior. And this opened up a whole new world for me of directing, which I found that I loved. I returned in 1969 to Warren with a theater credential in my hand. I learned Mr. Miles had disappeared in 1966 and was never seen again. I was the new drama teacher. My dream had come true, and I always hoped that Mr. Miles knew that I was carrying on his tradition. I hope my 33 years at Warren have the same positive effect on my students as Mr. Miles' teachings had for me. I have two memories, 1974 and 1998, that stand out. In 1974, one of my students knew that my favorite actor was Jack Lemmon. You youngsters don't probably even know who that is. And he got a hold of it. He spent the whole summer and managed to have Jack Lemmon come and spend the day with my advanced class. That was a day I will never forget. And then in 1998, two of my students, Christine Martin and Ryan Hartman, were able to get the Board of Education to approve naming my beloved little theater the Emerson Theater. This theater is such a magical place for me, and I know it changed the lives of many who have performed on its perfect little stage. The ceremony that night was so special to me because Christine and Ryan had arranged for 50 of my students to be in the audience that night. They were brought on stage with me after the performance. I knew none of this, including a father who is here with us today, and his daughter, and another father, and 3 of his kids, all of whom I had taught. I retired in 2002 to start the next chapter of my life. In 1988, I met the most amazing man, Rick Thompson, and after 18 years of living together, we decided to marry. Most of you are too young to know this, but Harvey Keller, who is sitting right there, was my government teacher at Warren, and later we were colleagues when we taught together here. What you probably don't know is Mr. Keller was marrying Sam at Warren for 3 decades at the Sadie Hawkins dance. Now, I was too shy to ever attend the dance, but when Rick and I decided to get married on 666, Harvey Keller was deputized, and he really married us at our ceremony. So I think I'm safe to say I'm the only student in real life that was married by marrying Sam. Rick has been the most supportive and loving husband, encouraging me in all of my crazy ideas. When I wanted a big 40-foot RV after retirement, he wasn't keen on the idea. But he's now driven us 100,000 miles around this beautiful country with all of our pets, 4 of them to be exact, including a 200-pound mastiff. He bought me my first Kindle. Little did you you know what that was going to start. I have now read 1,900 romance novels. That's all I read. And I tell him the plot of every one of them, and he actually remembers them. So that when I bring up a book, remember when that one? Yeah, I remember that one. For his birthday, I bought him a BMW motorcycle in September. Why? Because everybody knows alpha romance heroes drive motorcycles. So I wanted to be on the back of a motorcycle, and I've been enjoying the heck out of it. When I got into embroidery, he encouraged me to buy 2 commercial machines. And so I thank my wonderful husband. I want to thank my guest, Kevin Bray, class of '73, who announced me, is one of my best friends. I love that he's continued his acting career. It makes my heart glad to see him on stage again. Thank you to Ken Clark, class of '71, who's here with us today. He made the long drive from Northern California. He came into my class my first week of teaching, captain of the football team. But it turned out he was a darn good actor, and he took the role of Felix in The Odd Couple along with other roles. In fact, he and Kevin Bray were in Odd Couple together. Thank you, Bob Bennett, class of '73. You might recognize him as an amazing singer and songwriter. He also sang at our wedding. Many of my students have gone on to become teachers, like I did. Erin Cusley, who was trying to make it, I don't know if she ever did. She was stuck in traffic. She taught at Griffiths. Sean Fitzpatrick, who was here for a minute, Greg Elsasser, Danielle Keeler, Josh Buell. These are all my beloved students. And of course, Kyle Dykman. Kyle Dykman took over the drama department, and I know Kyle would have made Mr. Miles so proud that he's carrying on that legacy. Thank you to my good friends, Dr. Julie Brown, the best chiropractor on the planet. Helen Harbour, my best friend for the last 42 years. Gloria Rosas, who comes to all of the Warren drama plays with me. And 2 good friends that are ex-students, David Escobar and Doug Howard. Thank you for coming. My passion for embroidery leads me to thank you to those faculty members who trusted me with their embroidery. Jay Waldron, the first coach to ever trust me 15 years ago to do his warm-ups. Rick Nichols, who's here today. Josie Cordero, Debbie Haar, I do her musical theater shirts, and Nia Barbeau. You have kept me connected to Warren in the best possible way. Thank you, Warren, for my wonderful life. You are the school of my heart.